Welcome to the AFR Saints channel, where we provide you daily content on your favorite team, the New Orleans Saints. Do us a favor and hit that subscribe button. Be sure to leave your comments below and smash that like button. Who dat? On Monday night, on the eve of the Saints reporting, Nick Underhill from NewOrleans.football reported that Michael Thomas was expected to be a full participant at Saints training camp. And today, when both Dennis Allen and Mickey Loomis met with the media, they said just that. First, here was Dennis Allen on their star wide receiver.
Our expectation is that Mike's going to be a full participant. He came in last Thursday, did his physical, went through the conditioning test, looked great, moved around, awesome. He's in good shape. And so, yeah, our expectation is that Mike will be a full participant. And I think, if I'm not mistaken, that's what Mike said he was going to do when he left out of here in the spring. And generally, when Mike sets his mind to something, he gets it done.
Awesome. Glad to hear it. It's better than there being some setback or delay. Mickey Loomis, when he met with the media on Tuesday, also gave his sentiments on where Michael Thomas is right now.
I feel really good about where Mike's at physically, and I know where he's always been at in terms of his ability and his competitiveness and his desire to be out there. So that's never been in question. It's just, hey, can we get over these injuries, and can we get his health back to the point where he can do what Mike does? And I think that's where he's at right now. And listen, we'll find out in the next few weeks. I think he feels good. You guys will be able to talk with him at some point, and I think we feel good about it.
Okay, so the head coach and the GM expecting Mike Thomas to be a full participant at camp. They feel good about where he is now. I want to remind you of something. I want to go back, just for context, 1 year ago. 1 year ago at the start of camp in 2022, when Michael Thomas surprised everybody, and was there to start training camp. Here was Dennis Allen last August. So this was later in camp, but here was Dennis Allen last August with talking about Michael Thomas.
I'd say I think he looks good out there. You know, he looks like he's rounding back into form like he was prior to the injury. You know, certainly there's still a progression that we're going through with that player, but he's incorporated himself into some team drills. You see some physical contact happening out there, and he continues to line up again. So, yeah, I mean, I like where he's at.
You liked where he was. Here's Michael Thomas last year at the start of training camp.
Once the Saints offered me, my second deal after my rookie contract, that was an agreement to be out here to add value to this team, to keep the Saints, hanging banners and competing for championships, and I have a big role on this team. So to not be out there and add that value, whenever you get your second chance, I always told myself, and whenever I got back out there, take full advantage of it and find a way to always get back.
So, more importantly than that, it's the fact that a year ago, we're having the same conversation. We're having the same conversation a year ago about Michael Thomas, which was he's healthy, get out there, optimistic, right? Optimism was abounding last year. Thomas had missed an entire season, but he had rehabilitated from the ankle injury that cost him the bulk of the 2020 season. For the bulk of the 2021 season, and then he was out there the ankle injury cost him the bulk of 2020. He missed all of 2021, as we saw, and then was there getting ready for 2022, and people were optimistic about it, and 3 games into the season, he's injured and misses the rest of the year. So, I don't mean for this to be I don't mean for this to be a negative take on Michael Thomas. I'm not trying to, this isn't pessimistic. It's just skeptical. I'm not pessimistic about Michael Thomas. I'm just skeptical. When you've played 10 games over 3 seasons, you missed the entire 2021 season. God bless, Mike Thomas tried to play through it in 2020. He was hurt. He worked his behind off to get back on the field late, and he wasn't himself. But he tried. We all know the story. Disagreement about the injury, how to rehab it, should they do surgery, and it ends up costing him his whole 2021 season. That sucked. Didn't have to happen, but it did. And after all that, he comes back last year and plays in 3 games. So when you've had him for 10 games over 3 years, I'm just going to be skeptical. I don't care. I mean, I'm happy that Michael Thomas is going to be there for the first day of camp. I'm glad he's out there right now and he's ready to go and he passes physical. That's better than the alternative, which is he ain't out there. So yeah, I'm very glad that Michael Thomas is out there at the start of camp. But I also don't care that he's there at the start of camp. The only thing I care about is whether or not Michael Thomas is going to play a full season. And we're not going to get that answer today or a week from now or a month from now or 2 months from now or 3 months from now. We're only going to get that answer when the season ends, so hopefully in February, and we can look back on the season and see what Michael Thomas did. What I will say is what I've said all along about what is I believe is a realistic ceiling. A realistic ceiling. I'm not telling you this is how his season's going to go. What I'm telling you is I think this is the everything goes great for Michael Thomas. This is what you can expect this year for that player. At this point in his career where he's 30 and he's pushing 30, and we're looking around going, all right, well, what's realistic for Thomas? I think you look back to his rookie season. In his rookie year, he started 12 times. He played in 15 games. He had 92 catches for 1,137 yards and 9 touchdowns. That is a ceiling for Michael Thomas. He's not getting back to the guy in 2019 who had 149 catches for 1,700 yards. He's not going to be the guy he was in 2018, the year of the Nola no-call, when he had 125 catches for 1,400 yards. As a rookie, he had 1,100, then he went to 1,200, then he went to 1,400, then he went to 1,700. Incredible start to his career. And then we've seen what's happened the last 3 years. I believe Michael Thomas's ceiling this season is what he did in his rookie year. If Michael Thomas approaches 100 catches and eclipses 1,000 yards, that is an absolute, unequivocal win for Michael Thomas and for the New Orleans Saints. A guy that you fed him $100 million and he earned that contract. And in the first, people forget, he didn't get the contract after the record season. He got it after 2018. His first year on the record contract was when he was the NFL's Offensive Player of the Year. And then the injuries came. But for a guy making that contract with the last 3 years going the way they have, I think the absolute ceiling for Michael Thomas is look at his stat line his rookie year. 92 catches, 1,100 yards, 9 touchdowns. You get that from Michael Thomas, you're doing backflips. Realistically, it's probably half that. You asked me today, Matt, what does Michael Thomas do? 50 catches, 600 yards, 4 touchdowns. That's probably what I think he does this year. I'd love to be dead wrong. I hope he approaches or eclipses that ceiling. But after 3 years, you're right to be skeptical. It doesn't make you a hater. It doesn't make you a cynic. It's justified skepticism. I've got a 3-year sample that suggests it. Glad he'll be out there at practice on Wednesday. I also don't care. I want him to be out there in Week 18. Hey, thanks so much for watching. Please leave your comments. I love to interact. And be sure to hit the red subscribe button below.